Simon & Schuster Audio presents Movie Nights with the Reagans, a Memoir by Mark Weinberg. Read by George Newbern, with an introduction read by the author.
Introduction. Nancy Reagan's Last Goodbye, August, 2015. My rental car and I are finding our way down the streets of Bel Air on a trip I hadn't taken for years. Back then, when I worked for President and Mrs. Reagan, every one of these trips seemed important. Yet this one was perhaps the most important of all. I didn't know it for certain, of course, and I sure hoped it wasn't true, but I had a feeling this would be the last time I would see Nancy Reagan alive. The pop culture notion of the Reagans' former neighborhood is of multi-story mega mansions tucked behind elaborate gates and exotic foliage. There are, in fact, many homes like that. Elizabeth Taylor once lived nearby. But by no means does that image apply to all of them. That includes my destination that summer afternoon, the home of Nancy and Ronald Reagan. With all due respect, if tourists were driving through Bel Air to ooh and ah over houses, they would not give the Reagan home a second look. It's a very ordinary house, an onlooker said once when the former first couple moved into their multi-million-dollar digs at 668 St. Cloud Road in January 1989. By the time I make this drive again, the former president has been gone for more than 10 years, but that doesn't matter. I still see the house as theirs. His widow clearly felt that way, too. She'd have never dreamt of abandoning the comparatively modest three-bedroom ranch house they shared a couple of miles from Century City, where the former president maintained his office after leaving the White House, and about an hour's drive from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum in Simi Valley. There's a nondescript metal mailbox in front of the gate, and at the appointed hour, I pull into the driveway, past the security station after having been cleared, and make the short drive to the front door. In earlier days, whenever I came to the house, I'd knock on the large, round brass door knocker, and either the President or Mrs. Reagan, sometimes both, would open the door without pretense and show me in. Whenever I left, one or both always walked me to the door and stood there, waving, until my car was out of sight. So it was no surprise to me on such a balmy day that a smiling Nancy Reagan, at this point largely confined to a wheelchair, was at the door to greet me again. Standing beside her were a home health care aide and her housekeeper.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?